Okay, I get that this thing has a link monster now, but do we really need to do another profile? Hey guys, it's the Bats here, and it struck me that I haven't done a Cyber Dragon profile, as you guys saw from the budget version that I did, I do prefer the fusion-based OTK version. It's less obnoxious, it's easier to run, and it's just really fun to do. So I thought to go ahead and throw together a quick one, just for the walls. I don't think it's going to be stealing any YCSs anytime soon, but you could probably do a couple come-from-behind victories at locals. So let's start off strong with the monsters. Of course, we're going to have 3 copies of the man himself, a Cyber Dragon, a 2100 point beat stick if your opponent controls a monster and you do not, summon Cyber Dragon, period. This is a going second deck, so you're going to want to go ahead and run all 3 of it, though. Now, also, we're going to be running 3 Cyber Dragon Dry, and that is actually going to be an 1800 point beater, your normal summon, and it turns all Cyber Dragon monsters into level 5 monsters when it hits the field. It's also counted as Cyber Dragon, I believe, on the field, and I want to say in the graveyard too, so that's always very helpful. Third one, Cyber Dragon Core. This will be the last of your Cyber Dragons. So we have a total of 9 names for the fusions, which is nice. This one will search for your Cyber Repair Plant when it's normal summon, so it's your best normal summon in the deck. And then you can actually banish this card out of the graveyard to special summon a Cyber Dragon monster out of the deck, so that's always pretty helpful too, assuming that your opponent controls a monster and you do not, so it keeps those plays going. Now, funny little tech I'm doing, 3 copies of Cyber Valley. So this one doubles as a draw engine as well as a stall engine, kind of like a little mini battle fader, just to go ahead and keep you on the board until you're ready for the OTK. 1 Cyber Eltanin, just because it's a machine and it's a light type, bringing us up to a total of 12 light machine monsters. Also included a Galaxy Soldier package over here. So 3 Galaxy Soldier, if you don't know what it does, you can send another light monster from your hand to the graveyard and special summon this bad boy in defense mode, and then when it's special summoned, you add another Galaxy monster from your deck to your hand, and you can only do that once per turn. Keep in mind, it doesn't exclude Galaxy Soldier, so you special summon this one, bring out another one, then you can special summon it again. You just won't be able to search for the 3rd one, and then it gets you an instant Cyber Dragon Infinity, which is nice. And then, of course, a small Kaiju package. I elected not to play the other Jizuruku because it bricked me every single time in testing. I only tested like 12 games, but for some reason, every single time I'd dead draw it or I'd brick it, and it just wasn't working for me. So you'll probably want to run 2, but I'm just running the 1. But that's it for the monsters. And moving on to the spells, we'll have 3 copies of Cyber Repair Plant. This is basically your reinforcement of the army of the deck. Only difference is it goes after light machine monsters. Nice thing about it going after light machine monsters is it also goes after your Galaxy Soldiers, your Jizurukus, and your Cyber Eltanin, in addition to your traditional Cyber Dragon monsters. Most of the time you'll be looking for Core, or occasionally you'll probably look for Dry, but the fact is you can search literally every card in the deck except for 2 of them, which is really nice. We also have 3 copies of Machine Duplication. Now, why 3 instead of 2? Well, the thing is, you have 2 very good targets for it. You have the Cyber Dragon Core, which is going to get you into some pretty wacky combos, as well as the Cyber Valley, which will actually get you into a Link monster pretty easy, as well as a good draw engine and a good stun engine. So keep that in mind too. 3 copies of Power Bond, because we're doing an OTK-centered variant. We want to have those Power Bonds in hand as quickly as possible. And because it's also a fusion variant, we want to make sure we get those Overload fusions in there too. Those are actually going to get you into 2 of the more powerful Chimera Tech monsters that you really want, so that's always pretty nice. Because we're also doing OTKs, we want to have those Twin Twisters in there. Another card I was kind of janking with is Forbidden Lands. I think I like Ghost Ogre over this, or maybe Ash Blossom if you have them, but if not, Forbidden Lands is kind of neat, mainly because it just works as a way to get ahead and keep your Cyber Dragons on the board, just in case, protect them, or weaken something for an OTK. And then a couple of board wipes, Interrupted Kaiju Slumber and Dark Hole for the combos there. You can also toss in a Regeki over the Dark Hole, doesn't really matter. We also have the Soul Charge here to bring back everything, and what's Soul Charge without Monster Reborn 2? And for other one-ofs, Foolish Burial if you need to drop a core in the graveyard to get your engine started, that's nice. Reasoning also gets the engine started pretty nicely and loads up the graveyard for Overload Fusion. Instant Fusion, because duh. And Limiter Removal, because machines, so double duh. Let's talk extra deck. Alright, so we're going to go backwards this time. We're going to go ahead and talk links first. So the first thing that we'll play is one copy of Qliphort Genius. This is actually an outstanding card, 1800 point beater that requires 2 machine monsters. This link summon card is unaffected by spell and trap effects and the activated effects of other link monsters, so it's protected from a fair amount of cards, which helps with the OTK. And once per turn, you can target a face-up card in each player's field, and then both of the cards have their effects negated, which is great for, like, let's say a Cyber Dragon and whatever else on your opponent's side of the field. And then when 2 monsters are special summoned at the same time, 2 machine monsters to the same zones that this card points to, you can search for another one. So let's say that you're soul charging something, you get 2 monsters onto those points, and you can search for an extra Cyber Dragon, or you can search for an extra Galaxy Soldier, or whatever you need to complete your combo, which is really nice. So I think that's actually probably one of the best link monsters. Surprisingly, it's a very, very good link monster in the game. Probably the best machine support, I'd say, in general. I would have played this in Dynamist if, Electromite wasn't so good. So I'm definitely going to say absolutely play this at 2 if you can, but I'll just have it at 1 for now. And Underclock Taker, this is another one. It's super generic. Any 2 effect monsters will do the job, and you can target a monster that this card points to, as well as a face-up one on your opponent's side of the field. Your opponent's monster loses attack equal to your monster's attack, so great for the OTKs. Opens up a link zone or 2 so you can get a monster on the board. And I'm not going to play the Cyber Dragon link, at least not for now, not until I have something that's worth doing, so there's that. And for the fusions, 1 copy of Cyber End Dragon. I don't use it very often. If I get stuck on a Nova and something happens to the Nova, boom, Cyber End Dragon comes out. Neat thing about Nova, if that does get negated, the official ruling is you actually do get to special summon a Cyber End Dragon, just because it's in your possession, not necessarily under control, so keep that in mind. 2 of the new big boss, Chimeratech Mega Fleet Dragon. So this bad boy, you just go ahead and take monsters in the extra monster zone as well as the Cyber Dragon, and you go ahead and make this. It's good field clearing. It's kind of like a pseudo mini kaiju, so this one can take advantage of. This deck is great because it can take advantage of so many searchable kaijus. 1 Chimeratech Over Dragon, because we do run Overload Fusion. 1 Cyber Twin Dragon, because it's a good Nova target, and it's also a very easy monster to get into. A 5600 point beater under Power Bond that can attack twice, not just on monsters, just attack twice in general, period, is a great OTK enabler. And then we got ourselves our Chimeratech Fortress Dragon. Super good, especially against the Cosmo matchup or other machine decks. You just go ahead and summon your Cyber Dragon, and you make a big-ass beat stick there, so that's always a good call. 2 copies of Chimeratech Rampage Dragon, mainly because it's an excellent Overload Fusion target, and because it does deal with the back row very effectively, and back row, as you guys know, is this deck's worst enemy. 1 copy of Panzer Dragon, because it's an instant fusion target. I suppose you can, summon it the traditional way, but, you're just going to overlay into Nova with it 9 times out of 10. And, of course, we're going to play for the XYZs 2 copies of Nova. Why would you play 2 copies of Nova? Because you have 2 copies of Infinity. Nova, though, I think is a drastically underrated card. I'd say it's probably the superior Cyber Dragon monster. I get it, Infinity does better stuff and it's more universal. But the thing about Cyber Dragon Nova, if it does explode for whatever reason, then you get to bring out another Cyber Dragon, and then, if you actually do resurrect a Cyber Dragon, you can do some attack manipulation. It gets you to the OTK faster. I think it's a pretty good deal. And then, of course, last but not least, the Cyber Dragon Infinity we're just talking about. It's a negate, it's some quick non-destroying board clearing right there, and it's also usually a pretty big beater, typically around 2,700 points, 2,800 points, 2,900 points. Well, I guess it would only be 2,700 or 2,900 points, but you can keep stacking this thing, you can get some negates, and this will actually protect you pretty nicely until you're in a good position to OTK your opponent. So, alright guys, but that's it for the deck profile. I didn't bother with a side deck because, as you know, that's all meta dependent, and this meta is a little bit of a mess right now. I'd say maybe just watch stuff for Trick Stars if you can get some anti-pendulum random stuff in here that'll work. Maybe stuff like Wavering Eyes and Spell Shattering Arrow, because you don't really want to do the Anti-Spell Fragrance or too many traps to slow this one down. So keep that in mind. But otherwise, on that bombshell, Ace of Bats is signing out, and we'll go ahead and talk some combos, not including the new one, because I just don't like that new Link monster.